Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to continue with our series on introduction to web development using Django and Python. So in the last tutorial, we've been able to do user registration and user login system. So in this tutorial, we're going to continue to build our application. In this tutorial, we're going to go ahead and build the actual app that deals with the creation of the nodes, deletion of the nodes, updating of the nodes, and retrieving of the nodes functionality. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I want us to go ahead and do is, first of all, guys, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please kindly consider subscribing to the channel, liking this video, and sharing this content with anyone who you think might find it helpful. That's one of the ways you can support me to make even better videos. Okay, so thanks for that. So what I want us to start with doing is, first of all, we are going to go ahead and create the node CRUD app. Okay, so we're going to create an app that is going to go ahead and handle the CRUD functionality of our node. So in the last tutorial, we've been able to create another application, another app that deals with the authentication, right? So in this tutorial, we're going to create another app that deals with the creation of the different nodes, deleting of the nodes, updating of the nodes, retrieving of the nodes, and stuff like that. Okay, so to do that, I'm simply going to go ahead in my terminal, and inside of my terminal, make sure you have your virtual environment activated and you have navigated to the folder, and then you have your editor open. Okay, so I'm in there right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and simply clear the terminal. So once I have the terminal cleared, I'm going to go ahead and simply issue the following commands to create a new application, to create a new app for our node app. Okay, so I'm simply going to say Python 3 manage.py. So let me just see, Python 3, let me just see where I am. Okay, so I'm going to change directly into my node app, and once I'm in my node app, I'm going to go ahead and issue the following command. So make sure to inside of your node app or your main application before you can issue the following command. So you have to say Python 3 and then manage.py, and then simply say start app, and then you can give it the name of the app. So I'm going to call mine node CRUD and then app. Okay, I'm going to call it, let me just call it node CRUD, and I'm just going to say app. I'm just going to call it node CRUD, and once I have that command written there, I'm going to simply go ahead and simply press enter. The reason why I call it node CRUD, because node CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. So you can call it anything you want, but I'm just going to call my node app. So once we have that created, now what we're going to go ahead and simply do, let me just go back into my VS Code, and you can see now we have the node app right here. So now let's go ahead and actually register our app. So we're going to go inside of our node app, which is our main app, and under settings, we're going to go ahead and simply register our app. So we're going to go here and simply say the following. So we're going to simply say node CRUD, and then dot apps, and then dot, and then if you go inside of your node CRUD app and you go under apps, you will see this name right here. So I'm just going to copy this, move into my settings, and simply paste it in there. So that's how we can go ahead and simply register our app. So now our app has already been registered. So once we have our app registered, I also want to go ahead and add it to our main URLs. Okay, so I'm going to close all of this. Let me just close all of this because we don't need all of this. I'm just going to go ahead and close all of them up. So I'm going to go inside of our main app, and inside of our main app, I'm going to go inside of the urls.py file, and then inside url.py file, I'm going to simply copy this and then simply duplicate it right here. So once I have it duplicated right there, now I'm going to change this into nodes CRUD. Just get this. So node CRUD.url. So if you go inside of our node CRUD app, you don't have any app called URL. So let's go ahead and actually create that app. Okay, so I'm just going to, okay, let me also change this to be nodes, just like that, or note, you can call it nodes, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it nodes, and then you say include nodes node CRUD.urls .urls. So now you need to go to under our apps, our node CRUD app, and then under there just click on it and then simply say add a file. We're going to call out our file urls.py file. Okay, so once we have our urls.py file, I can even go ahead and just minimize this for now. I can go into cruds.urls, and I can simply go ahead, copy everything from here, copy it, and I'm just going to go and paste it right here. And now I need to delete all of this because we don't need all of this. So I'm going to delete all of this. Okay, even this right now we don't actually need it, but you can just leave it there. We'll come back to it just in a second. Okay, I don't need this one, so I can get rid of it. I don't need the templates, I can get rid of it. I'm going to use the views, so I'm just going to leave the views there. And this one I don't actually need, so I'm just going to delete it for now. So this is going to be a simple empty urls file. Okay, urls patterns list. This is going to be empty. Okay, so once we have this done, I'm going to go ahead and now let's go ahead and actually create our model. Okay, so we're going to create our model, and a model is just basically what a database is. So whenever you hear about models in web development, someone is talking about a database basically. So we're going to create a table in our database that is going to have a certain number of that's going to have code that describes how the database is and which data type you can store in each field and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm simply going to go ahead and go into models.py, this one, models.py file, and in here I'm going to go ahead and simply create that model in here. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and create our model in here. So to create the model, I'm just going to go ahead and delete all of this. So if I just undo that, you can see create your models in here, basically create your databases in here. So we're going to create a model. We're going to store our apps, our different nodes, right? So a node can have a title of the nodes, the content of the node, when it was created, the outer of the node, and stuff like that. Okay, and the date it was created and all that stuff. So we're going to create a node that had a database or a CRUD, a model that can handle that functionality for us. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to simply say I'm going to create a class. So I'm going to say class, and this class is going to be called, I'm going to call our database node. Okay, so I'm going to say models, and I'm going to say models dot model. Great, so we're going to create a model in here, and you're going to inherit from the models.model. So by default, Django imports for you models. So we're going to say models.model, so we can use that model class right there. Okay, so the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we have to have a title, and the title is going to be models.character field. Sorry, this is going to be a color field, and then you're going to say the maximum length, the max underscore length, which is the maximum number of characters that can do in here. So you can just say 100 if you want, and you can go ahead and say content, the content which is going to be the content of the node. So content, and the content is going to be models.text field. This is going to be a text field, right? And this text field can have max, you can spell the maximum number of characters you have for this field. Like, let's say that you want let's say 300, or you can just say anything you want. If you want to put any limit to how many characters a content can have, then you can go ahead and get rid of this, or you can actually increase it to be 3000 or anything that you want. Okay, so you can actually leave this with blank, or let's keep it to be 2000, which is going to be really large. Okay, so let's leave it to be 2000, so you can type more than 2000 characters instead of each node. Okay, so I'm going to say date underscore posted or date created is going to be equals to, I'm going to say models dot dates date time field. We're going to have a date time field, and you're going to say date time field, and you're going to pass in auto now add, and you're going to say that to be true. Great, so this is going to just create so far as the date in which the post was created. That's all, or the note in which the day in which the note was created. That's basically it. So I'm going to say outer, and each note is going to have an outer, right? So we're going to use this outer section to decide which note a person can see, depending on if they're the one who created the note or if they're not the one who created the note. So you can see a note that you didn't create, and you can see a note that you created, right? So we're going to storing the outer information. You're going to use it later on. So we're going to say models foreign key, just get the spelling right. So it's foreign key, and then it's going to have a foreign key, so it's going to relate with a user from the users table, right? So let's go ahead actually import the users model right here. So I'm going to say from django.contrib.out.models, I'm going to go ahead and import the user model. Great, so we're going to relate this model with the user's model. That's what the foreign key is going to be. So we're going to go ahead and say the user, and we're going to say on underscore delete, or we're going to say models.cascade. So models.cascade, meaning that if you delete a user, then the related post of that user will be deleted. But if you delete a post, the user won't be deleted. But if you delete a user, then all the related posts that relate to that user will be deleted. Because imagine that you deleted your account on Facebook, right? There's no point of Facebook keeping your post that you created, so it's just better that I delete it. So we're going to have the same content right here, so concept right here. So now I'm going to have an ordering. I'm going to have a meta class, and this meta class, we're going to use it to order our post, our notes, depending on how they were created and which date were created. So we'll start from the latest one to the least latest one. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So we say class, and this class is going to be meta, and you're going to have ordering. So ordering, and ordering is going to be equals to the following. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to use a string, and I'm going to say date underscore posted. So we're going to order the date. You're going to order the nodes depending on which date they were created. So we'll have the latest to the least latest, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. That's what the negative stands here for. You're ordering in a descending order, right, from the latest to the least latest. Okay, and if you want to order in test, you don't have to put any like descending order. Means you want from the least latest to the latest, then you have to delete the in fact, there's no even need of using this ordering stuff. You just have to leave it as it is, and to do that by default. Okay, so I'm going to say def, and I'm going to say underscore str, and this str is just for if you want to check the code in the terminal. For this tutorial, I'm not going to go and actually check this in the terminal, but for other tutorials like Flask, when you're doing Flask, I went ahead and show you how to do this in the terminal. But in this case, I'm not going to do it in the terminal. But if you're working with the terminal and you're trying to get a post, right, sorry, you're trying to get a certain note, right, then you can just get the notes title. So you can just return self.title, just like that. Okay, good. So once we have that, that's all we need to set up that and get it running. So that's all we need for that. Yeah, so that's all we need to create our notes model. So once we have our notes model done, what we need to go ahead and do is for us to migrate our database, because right now if you go into, let me check if the server is running. So we don't have the server running. So let me just go ahead and say parent and then say run. Let me just say run server. Okay, so once I run the development server, we're having an issue here. It says that check identified issue, ordering must be tuple or list. If warning, you want to order by only one field, even if you want to order by only one field, so must be a tuple or a list. So if I go back here, it's in ordering, I have to specify a tuple or a list. So I forgot one thing right now. This is not a tuple, so to make the tuple you have to keep a comma right there. So these are called single element tuples, and it's something that's a bit confusing in Python. You have to use the comma right after, even if it's just a single element. That's why we're getting that error. So right now that error should be gone. Okay, so thanks, we got that error, so we fix that error. So just simply copy this link and simply paste in your database. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and simply open it right here. So I'm going to navigate /admin. I want to get access to the admin page, and I'm going to pass in my name as admin, and I'm going to go ahead and pass in my password. So let me just pass in my password and just try to log in. So I got the password wrong, so let me just see. Okay, let me just see again. Okay, now I got in. So once I have it right now, you can see the table doesn't appear in the admin page. This is because of two reasons. But the first reason is that we haven't migrated our database, and the second reason is that we haven't registered our model yet. So therefore, let's go ahead and register a model, and then we'll migrate our database. Okay, so I'm just going to go back in here, stop the development server, clear the terminal. So once I have that, I'm going to go ahead and simply type in the following to migrate our database. So I'm going to say python 3 manage.py. We're going to say migrate. Let me just migrate like that. Sorry, we're going to say make migrations, just like that, and simply press enter, and that's going to make our migration. You can see it's going to create a module called note. Okay, so once we have that, you can see it's specifying to us this notecrad migration 001. So what does this mean? So if I go back into my VS Code and I go to notecrad migrations, and you can see where we have this file 001. So this is the SQL code for this. So you can actually view this SQL code if you're interested. And if you want to do that, you can just go in here and you just simply say python 3 manage.py, and then you say SQL migrate, just like that, and you specify notecrad, which I know for our model, and then you say 00001. So 0001, where am I getting this value from? There are 3 zeros actually. So if I go back in here, you can see there's 00001. So that's the initial migration that you're referring to. So if you run this command, it should show you the SQL code that is going to be used to create this model that you have specified. So they have written the code in Python to create it, but this uses something called an ORM. So it says an ORM, object relational mapper. So it's going to take all this and convert this into an SQL code, right, to do to our database. So this is basically what we have just simply done. So that's just the SQL code in case you are interested, or if you know SQL, you're just saying create table called CRADP, this one, and then you have an ID. It's an integer, not null, and its primary key, and its auto increment means it will increment itself, and you have a variable, another field called title. It's a varchar of 100, not null, it can be empty. Content, you have another field called content, it has a text, not null, and then you have a date posted, it's a date time, not null, outer, and all that. So you can see we have even the SQL code being provided for us. So once we have this, now we need to make our migrations to happen. So to do that, you have to say the following. So you have to say python 3 manage.py, and then say migrate, and then run that. So once this is done, it's going to go ahead and execute this code to actually create our data, apply those migrations. So it's going to go ahead and apply all those migrations. In this case, it's going to apply the migration to the notecrad. Okay, Good. So once we have it done, I'm just going to go ahead and clear this terminal, and then simply go ahead and simply start my server again. So I'm going to say run server, and then simply press enter. So our server is running again. So if I go back in here and just refresh this, no change, right? We don't actually see the node database, our nodes table in here. We only see the users table and the group table, even though our data, we have migrated our database. So why is it not showing up on the admin page? The reason why it's not showing up on the admin page is we haven't registered it on the admin page. So to register it on the admin page, you have to go inside of the admin.py file, and then from here you can register it. So first of all, let's import the model itself. So I'm going to simply say from models, I'm going to go ahead and import not model. Okay, and then down here I'm going to say, you can see even Django gives you comment, register your models here. So I'm going to say admin.site.register and pass in the not model, just like that. So just by doing this, we are going to go ahead and simply register our model. So once I have that done, I'm just going to go inside, check if my server is running, and my server is running. So I'm going to go in here and then simply give it a quick refresh. Now you can see we have the nodes CRUD here. So you see the nodes CRUD app, and we have the nodes table here. So if I click it, and I can go to add nodes, and you can see I can add title of the node, the content of the node, and then the person who created the node. In this case, we have only 2 users, so you can either be admin or prince, right? So that's basically it. So let's actually add it a simple one here. So just going to say first not title, let me get the spelling of title right, and I'm going to go say first not content. Okay, so once I have that, I'm going to say the outer of this is going to be print. So once I have that, I can click on save. Now we have one note in here. So great. So that's going to be add notes from through the admin page. Now we don't want to do this through the admin page. You want the users to be able to do this through the app that we have. So if I log out of this, I can just go into I think I should go into alt/register, and just like that, and I'm going to go ahead actually click on login to login. So I'm going to pass in my name as Prince, and then my password, pass in my password, just like that, and simply try click on login. Okay, actually my name is this is supposed to be register login and not register. So let me see, maybe I got my password wrong, so let me see. Okay, so now I'm logged in. So you can see now I'm logged in here. So now once I log in, I want the notes to display up here once the user is logged in, right? So how do we go ahead and do that? Once the user is logged in, we want to display all the note content. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to go back into my code right here, and once I'm in here, I'm going to go and just close this app. I'm just going to close the models app. We don't need it anymore. And the admin page, I'm going to admin.py, I'm going to close that file also up, and then this URL, I'm also going to go ahead and close it up. So I'm going to minimize all these apps, so minimize all of them, and minimize this as well. So once I'm in here, I'm going to go inside the views, and I'm going to create a list view. The list view, what the list view is going to go ahead is list all the content of our note app. So that's what I want us to do, go ahead and do right now, just to list all the notes that the user has created. So I'm going to go into my views.py. So once I'm inside of my views.py, I'm going to go ahead and import a couple of things. So I'm going to first of all go ahead and import I'm going to say from models. I'm going to go ahead and import the note model, and I'm going to go ahead and say from Django.contrib.house.mixins. So mixins, I'm going to go ahead and import login required mixin, and then login required mixin. That's all I want to import for now. I'm going to explain to you all these mixins just in a second. So I'm also going to import from Django.views.generic. I'm also going to use generic views. I'm going to go ahead and import list view. I'm going to import create view. I'm also going to import update view, and also the delete view. So these are just some generic views that Django provides us with default. Means that you don't have to do any hard work to get all these views up and running. So we can use these views to do different stuff with these specific views. So once we have those things imported, this generic views imported. So if you're interested about generic views, you can read about them on the official documentation of Django, or if you also use mixins, you can also read about them on the official page on Django official documentation. But just to save time, because it's a tutorial, I don't want to also go back documentation and then read all that. So if you guys are interested, you can just read that on your own time. I can also leave a link in the documentation in the description of the video if you want me to, so that you guys can read about it if you're interested. But this view is just just help us to do things in a much easier way without having to write a lot of code. So you actually see how they're important. If you ever work with Django and you've never used views, then you have actually used a lot of time probably. Now we're going to see the advantage of this view. So I'm going to create a class here. I'm going to call it not list view, and I'm going to simply for this list view, for you to be able to view these nodes, right, you need to be logged in, right? Because the reason why you need to be logged in is because whenever before you display a post to a note to someone, right, we can only display a note that the person has created. Now how can you know that if you have created a post if you don't even know who you are? Basically, if you don't know, if you're not logged in, how can you know who you are, and how can you decide which notes to show to you and which notes not to show to you, right? So you need the user to be logged in before we can display to the user notes that specific user created. So that's why we need the user to be logged in. So logged in required mixin, so we have to be logged in. That's what the logged in required mixin does. And also going to say list view, and this for Django just help us to inherit from the list view class. Okay, so you're going to simply in here, you have to simply pass in which model you want to use, and I want to use the node model, and then I have to specify the template name and the template underscore name. And the reason why I'm specifying the template name is because you don't even need to provide the template name. Basically, you can just go ahead under templates here, you can just create notes underscore list, I think like that, and then that should the notes underscore list dot html template, and it's going to go ahead and use that template automatically. But now I want to specify my own template, because we're going to go ahead and keep our templates inside of a folder inside of the template called the notes folder. Okay, so I'm going to go create the folder right here, and this folder is going to be called notes. Okay, so instead of our notes folder, we're going to keep all our notes templates. So by doing that, we have to go and specify to Django, tell Django explicitly which template to use. But if you don't want to do that, you can just create a template in here called notes underscore list dot html, and it's going to go ahead and use that template by default. But as we're going to go ahead and specify to Django which template to use. Okay, so I'm going to create a template in here, and I'm going to simply go ahead and call this template notes underscore list dot html. Okay, and just press enter. We'll come back to this template just in a second. So this note template is going to be of type string, and this is going to be using the Python hints, data type hints or type hints. So we're going to be using type hints, and this just says note list is of type string str, right, and it's equals to, I'm going to go ahead and specify it here. So I'm going to say notes / we call the template note underscore list dot html, just like that. So that's all you want. Okay, so if you want to use the type hints in Python, you can just go ahead and remove this, but yeah, you can leave it if you want. Okay, and I have a whole video explain type hints on my channel, so if you guys are interested in type hints, kindly check out the channel for the notes on the notes on type hints. Okay, so let me just actually write it down somewhere so that whenever I'm uploading the video, I can simply include it in there. So this is going to be type hints. Okay, so I'm going to put type hints in the description of the video. Okay, so once I have that done, I can go ahead and specify the content object name, and content object name is going to be a list of strings. Okay, so you can actually see our VS Code suggest that to you, but I'm not going to be using this type hints, so let me just get rid of them because I don't want you guys to be confused or anything like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and simply call my object's name is going to be called notes. So whenever you go into our template, we'll be referring to notes. Okay, so I will just explain to you just in a second, don't worry about that. So I'm going to say dev into get underscore query set, and this query set, what I'm going to go ahead and again, this is another type hint. You're just going to go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, because I don't want to confuse guys, maybe not everyone who has used type hints. So if you guys are interested in type hints, let me know. I'll do I have a whole video on it. So what we want to return here, we're going to simply say note dot objects, right, dot filter. You're going to filter basing on the outer. So I'm going to say where the outer is going to be equals to, let me get the spelling of outer, right? So outer is going to be equals to the self. Let me get that self dot request dot outer, right? So self dot request dot user rather. So it's going to be the user who is making the request, right? And then simply do dot order by, and you're going to order by the date in which the post was created. So date posted, so the date in which the note was created. You can see I'm ordering it here, but if you don't even need to order it here, if you go into the models, you're also ordering it here as well, so you don't have to order it there as well. You can just leave it here, leave it without ordering it. It should also be fine because it's already ordered from here, but I'm just going to show you how to order it in both ways. Okay, so once we have that, now let's go inside of our note underscore list.html template, and instead of this template, what do we need to do? Instead of this template, you're just going to be writing the code to go ahead and display all the notes that the user has created. So we're going to put each note inside of a card, and then inside of the card you're going to have a good displaying of those notes. So to do that, simply we're just going to go in here and then inherit the basic template, right? Because we want to inherit the navigation bar and all that default stuff. So I'm going to go ahead, keep a code block. I hope you remember how to extend. So I'm going to say extends, and I'm going to say /main.html. we're going to extend that, and then I'm going to go ahead and create the content block, and then end the content block. So block content, just like that, and then simply end the content block. So this, and then simply pass in this, and then simply say end block, just like that. So once I have this done, I'm going to go ahead and write a for loop to iterate through all the to-dos that all the nodes that we have and display all the nodes. Okay, so you can see we are referring to the object type as nodes, so we have to go ahead and loop through nodes. So everything you're going to get from this from our database is going to be stored in an object called nodes. Okay, that's what we're referring to here. So in the model, so instead of our template, you're going to refer to nodes. Okay, so I'm going to keep a code block, and then simply say for nodes in nodes, right? Because everything that is going to get passed to this template is going to have an object name of nodes, of nodes. Okay, that's what we're referring to it as nodes. Okay, right, so let me just go ahead and end that end the follow. So end for, just like that. So in here, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to create a div, a simple div, and I'm going to have a div and like this, and I'm going to go up here and say class, and you're going to have a card just like this, and it's going to have margin top of 4. It's going to have a padding of 4. It's going to have margin bottom of 2, just like that, margin bottom of 2. Okay, so instead of this card, what I want to do, I'm going to go ahead and create another div in here, and then in div is going to have a class. So I'm going to say class, and the class is going to be as well. We're going to have a border. This has some bootstrap classes, border bottom, and then you're going to have a border, border bottom, and I'm going to have a margin top of 2, right? Each card is going to have a margin of 2. So we're going to have a h2 tag here. So I'm going to say h2, and this thing h2, and this is going to have the following. So you're going to give it a class, so the class is going to be the following. So the class is going to be I'm going to have post hyphen title. We don't really need a post title right here, so I'm going to delete that. We're going to have a class of border hyphen bottom, just to keep a line beneath the heading. Okay, so in here we're going to be writing heading and stuff. So in here I'm going to have an anchor tag. You can keep an anchor tag to give the title if you want, but this anchor tag right now is not going to go anywhere, but later on you can make the anchor tag go somewhere if you want it to. So I'm going to keep it in an anchor tag. Later on you can actually make it go somewhere if you want it to. So I'm going to say text hyphen decoration, sorry, my bad. So I'm going to simply say text, and I'm going to say text decoration of type none. So we're going to have no text decoration on it. Means we just want it to be just like no text, like by default links to have like a line under them. I don't want that line, that's why I'm saying text decoration is none. And I'm going to a color, it's going to be an RGB color. I'm going to go 63 124 and then 230. These are just RGB values, just kind of bluish, and I'm going to give it a href. So once I have this, I can end that, and I can give it a href, which currently goes nowhere right now, so it's going to leave that to be blank, and I'm going to simply close off that. And in here I'm going to just let me just move the code so you guys can see. So in here I'm going to have a variable, and I'm going to say notes, because you're looping through notes, so I'm going to say notes.title, just like that, because each note has a title. Because if you look at the model, each note has a title, a content, date posted, and outer, right? So again, we're just going to go ahead and simply get the notes title right here. Okay, so once we have that done, let me just go down here. So the bottom right here, what I want to do, I want to create a paragraph tag, so p tag and then close of that. So this p tag is going to have a class, and the class is going to be text hyphen muted. You're going to say margin top is going to be 2, and yeah, we can give it some bit of styling. I don't want to write my own CSS, that's why I'm putting all the CSS in here, because it has few lines of CSS. Okay, so that's why I'm putting my own in here. But if you want to use CSS in Django, you have to pass in a couple of things. It's a bit tricky to work around, but if you want me to make a video on that, let me know in the comment section below. But in this tutorial, I'm just going to keep everything really simple. Just keep the styles in here. Okay, so I'm going to say date posted, and this is going to be a variable right here, so variable, and this you're going to simply say not dot date underscore posted, and these are just the values from here, right? Date dot title, date posted, date posted, right? And then you're going to say by it was posted on this date by the outer, right? So we're going to say let's go here and say not dot outer, and notes.outer is something again that is coming from our models right here. So great. Okay, so once we have that there, we're going to have the date posted and then the outer of that note, right? So yeah, that's basically it, and we have the p tag closing off there. So great, that's a bit of a long code. Okay, so once I have that done, that's basically it, and now I want to go ahead and display the note content itself, because right now we just have done the heading and stuff. So to display the note content itself, I'm just going to go ahead and simply pass in the following. So I'm going to create a paragraph tag here. So I'm going to create a p tag and then close off that off, and I'm going to have a class, and the class is going to be the following. So I'm going to say we're just going to go ahead. Actually, we don't need any class right here. I don't need any class, so I'm just going to go down here and simply say note. Sorry, it's going to be a variable rather, so it's this, and then simply say note.content, and note.content again is coming from here, right? Note.content, each note will have a title, each note will have a content, date posted, and then the outer. So I'm just referring to the note.content, which is actually the content of the note itself, right? So that's basically it. So that's all we need to do. So yeah, that's basically it, and we need to go ahead and display this. So how do we display this? So I'm just going to go into my URLs here, and you can see right now we're not displaying anything. Okay, so now let's go and actually handle how this gets displayed. So we have to go into our notes app, and then instead of our notes app, you're going to go ahead inside of the urls.py file, and in there what I'm going to go ahead and do is actually change this here, because you can see the URL patterns right now is currently empty. So I want to change it so that it points to this class-based view. Okay, so these are called class-based. You can see this is a class, so they are called class-based views. So I want to refer to them here. So I'm going to go in here, and then in here I'm going to go ahead and pass in the following. So I'm going to say path, and then it's going to be just an empty, and you can say views, and it's going to be views are going to be views dot not list view, and then you're going to say dot as underscore view, because it's a class-based view. That's why you should say dot as view. Pass in the name, and the name is going to be not underscore, this is going to be a string, sorry, be a string, and you can say not underscore view view, just like that. So great, that's all you need to do to refer to this node. So if a person goes inside of our main app, and then our main app, this is our main app right here, if a person goes under notes, it's going to get directed to the notes, if a person goes to notes, it's going to get him to here, and since it didn't pass in anything except notes, so it's going to go match this, because it's an empty one, and it's going to turn to the list view, but this user needs to be logged in to access this view. Okay, good. So once it's done, let's check if my server is running. We have an error here, view must be callable or list in the and include. So let me just say include. Let me just go ahead and look at it. Include your notes at this one. Why are we getting that error? So let me just read closely. It says that view must be a callable or a list slash tuple in the call in case of include. So let me see where we're getting that error. So Django URLs, I think my error is in my URL. So let me look closely at my URLs. So we have the URLs path, and then we say path. If it's going to be a default path, then it is views equals to not details view dot as view, and then you're going to pass in the name. Yeah, that's all we need to pass in. So let me also check here, path notes, and then say include, including the notes URLs. That's all. Okay, so why are we getting this error right here? Let me see. Let me just stop the development server again and simply run the code again. Hopefully we don't get that error. So that error goes away. So I wonder why we're getting that error. Let's try and see if our app works this time around. So I'm just go in here and simply hit refresh. Okay, right now you don't see anything. So which if you go to, let's go change this to be notes. Oh, let me just go ahead and say notes. Sorry, this right here, and simply add notes to it. So notes, and simply hit refresh. So we can see we have the notes right here. The notes is displaying right here. So okay, so you can see the first note, and it's been created by Prince, and I'm currently logged in as Prince, and you can see the first note content right here. So good, everything is working as expected. But one thing I want to do after we log in, let me just log out right now and then try to log in again, and let me just pass login as Prince and then pass in my password. And then once I pass in login, okay, let me just get the name right, I mean the password. Okay, so now as we log in, you can see right now we are actually redirected to the out page. So why are we redirected to the out page, and how can we do that to change our settings? I think you can do that by going into the main app and then go into the settings, and then at the bottom right here, we don't want to get redirected to the out. What I want to get redirected to is not the index. It's not the index. Let me just check the names of the URLs here inside of our main, and then open the URLs. Let me just see udirect. Where are we getting redirected to? So let me just open this right here. Okay, so login redirect URL is the index page, and the index page, what does it handle? If I go into my authentication and I go into my URLs, we can see we have the index page right here, right, which is just the index page. So once I get logged in, where I want to redirect to is not the index page. I want to get redirected to notes. Let me just check it right here. Notes grad, I want to direct to note view. So I want to get redirected to note view. So I'm going to copy that and simply paste it in here. So again, we get redirected to note view after the user gets logged in. Okay, so I'm just going to log out and then try to log in again, and then pass in my name here and then my password. So pass in my password and then try again. So now I get redirected to the notes view. So great. So you can see now I'm in the notes view after logging in. So great. So that's how you can pass in where to direct the user after the user to last logged in. So you can keep a comment here where get the spelling right. So where to redirect the user after logging in. Okay, it goes here. Good. So I'm going to close up this, and now everything works as expected. So great, now we have the login view working. So now what I want to go ahead and do, I want to go back to views, and once I'm inside of views, what I want to go ahead and do is create another view that's going to handle the creation part, whereby I can create something or delete something. Sorry, to create in this case. So we're going to create you're going to have a create view. So to have this, I'm just going to go in here and simply pass in the following. So I'm going to have a class, and it's going to be not create view, just like that, and it's going to, first of all, the user needs to be logged in. So login, just like that. So let me just demonstrate to you. Let me just comment this part of the code out. So let me just comment this code out for now, and now let's go back into our page. Let's check if the server is running. The server is running. So let me just stop this development server, clear the terminal, and then restart it again. Now it should be running. So great. So once I come back in here, right, so let me just log out. I'm logged out, so I can click login again. So now what if I go to notes, just like this, notes, and let's see what we get, notes, and then click enter. So if you go to notes, because we are trying to access a page that requires us to be logged in, you can see we get redirected to this page which asks us to log in. So let's go ahead and now log in, and let me pass in my details. So now before I press enter, if you look here closely, you can see that it's saying we have a query parameter here, which is question mark, and then next equals to, and then / notes, and then / means that after passing in these details, after we get logged in, it's going to redirect us to the notes page, right, the notes route. So if I log in right now, you can see I get redirected to the notes route. Great. So everything works as expected, and this is the thing that makes sure that we are logged in before you can access this page is the login required mixin. Okay. So even if for you to be able to create a form, to create a note, we first need to be logged in, because we need to know who is the author of the note, who is trying to create a note, right? So you're going to have a create. You're going to have you need to be logged in order to access in order to access that page, in order to create a note, we need to know who is trying to create a note, right? So model is going to be equal to the note model, okay? And then the fields, sorry, note model, and then the fields are going to be equal to the following. So these are just a bit of type hints, so I don't want to use type hints, so I'm just going to go ahead and say which field I'm interested into. So if a person wants to create a note, so you want to go ahead and pass me when you're interested in the title field, and you're also interested in the content field. So we pass in the content and the title, and then about the date, we're going to handle the date information ourselves. So if you go back and look at the models here, our date is going to be the date which you created, and notice our auto now add is going to go ahead and add the date at which you created the note, and then the outer, you're going to simply go ahead and simply say the outer is the currently logged in user, okay? So we only need the title and the notes from whatever they're going to pass in, right? So we're going to get the title and the notes, and we're going to say success URL. Success URL is going to be a string. So we're going to success URL. This basically tells where to redirect the user after it has been successfully, when the user successfully creates a note. Where do we redirect the user? We're going to redirect it to / notes, right, where all the notes are going to be listed. Okay, so we're going to say template template underscore name, and template name is going to be of type string, and it's going to be the following. So we're going to simply say notes / notes underscore form dot html. So notes / form .html. That's going to be our template name. So that's basically what we need. And now we're going to have a function to validate stuff. Like we're going to say def, and then we're going to say form underscore valid, and yeah, we don't need all of this, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove all of this. So yeah, just going to ahead and delete all of this. So it's form, we're going to need the self and the form, right? Okay, because this is object-oriented programming, so the self must be passed into every method that's created. So I'm going to say form dot instance dot outer is going to be equals to self dot request dot user. Okay, so it means the author of this form is going to be the currently logged in user, which is self.request.user. That's what this line basically says. And then from there, we're going to simply return super dot form underscore valid. We're going to pass in the form. That's all. So great, that's all we need to have to do to set up a create form. So how do we go ahead and get access to? So we can go ahead and register this route. So if I go into my notes crud and then go into urls.py, we can go ahead and try copy this right here, copy it, and then down here I'm going to go ahead and paste it here. So right now we're just going to go ahead and do / it's going to be create, and then / just like that, and we can give it a name, which is the name can be called something. So the name can be let me see what the name can be at. So what should we even call this name at? So I'm just going to look and see which name I gave it to it. I'll just say create, notes create, okay, notes underscore create, view notes underscore create, just like that. Yeah, that's basically it. So that's all I want. So now the view is going to change again. This is going to be not create view, right? And then you say dot as view, because it's like a class based view. If you look here, it's a class based view. So I'm going to say dot as view. Must use this on every class based view, and then you can say the note is going to be, the name is going to be equals to note underscore create. So that's all you want. So if you go to notes / create, it's going to return to you which template. Now we specify the template right here called notes underscore notes / notes underscore form. But if you look here, we don't have any notes form. So let's go ahead and actually create that template. I'm going to just go ahead and say note lowercase notes note underscore form .html. Okay, so once I have that there, okay, so once I have this right there, what I want to go ahead and do right now is simply passing the template right here. So I can go into my let me go into my auth and then go into my registration. We have a form here, so I'm going to go ahead and simply copy this form, and let's go ahead and simply paste it inside here, and then paste it in here, and then just say this is going to be create notes, and this is just going to be let's say create note. Yeah, that's basically it, and we don't need this right here, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. That's basically what we need right there. So this is going to be create note form. yeah, that's basically what we need to do. So that's all we need to do to have this setup. So once I have this done, let me just go in here and just go to notes // and then we say create, and then simply press enter. So you can see we have the notes right here. So you can fill it. This is going to be the second note title, and then it's going to be second note content. So second note content, just like that, and simply hit create note. So create note, and you can see you have it being redirected here, and you can see the notes being adding up here. So great. Now I have to go ahead and simply type create note in here, which is not a good practice. So let's actually add another link here that can take the user to the form where you can fill in to create a note. So to go do that, I'm just going to go into my code. You can just simply close this app, so you will never use it actually again. So I'm going to go ahead and simply go into my main.file, and then simply here check if user is authenticated, only showing logout, right? Now we're going to simply copy this and simply paste it one more time, and simply I'm going to change this to be create note. So create note, and now we're going to pass in here, I'm going to say note underscore create. This is the name of that. If you go in here, you can see the name right here. So what you're trying to use right here. So let's copy that and simply paste it here. So that's all we need, and we're going to simply say create note. So now if I go back, I can now be able to see, refresh this, I can see now create note, which I click on it and it brings me to the note page. Great. Okay, so now if I click on this one, it doesn't take me anywhere, so I can just simply go ahead and return. If I go click on this, it take me to URL for the index, right? So I can just simply copy this and simply go ahead, paste it right here. And simply you can just take the user to what should we take the user to? Because this appear on all pages, we should be very careful what we allow the user access to, because we have to check if the user is logged in or not. Okay, so for now I'm just gonna leave it as it was. This is a hashtag. We'll think about later how to handle that later on. So yeah, that everything works as we expect it to. So yeah, great, everything works as we expect it to. So that's all we need for now. So yeah, that's all we need. So now let's go ahead and continue with our CRUD functionality. And now what you're going to go ahead and do is create the functionality to let a user update or delete a post. So let's start with the update, and later we'll move on to the delete functionality. So we have to go into our views inside of our notes CRUD app, and then go inside of our views. So in here, we're going to go ahead and create the this is going to be the update functionality. So we're just going to go in here, create a class, and this class is going to be called note update view, just like that. You're going to inherit the user first must be login required. The user needs to be logged in, and the user needs to be this is going to be an update view. So I'm going to say an update view, and update view is something that we imported right here. So we're just going to inherit from that class. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and specify as usual. We'll say note, and then node model, model is going to be the note model, and we're going to have the success URL. Means once a person finish updating a given note, what we redirect is that we're going to redirect to the / notes, which is the main page for all our notes. And then you can just go ahead and simply say template name, and template name is just going to be of type string, and it's going to be, you're going to say equals to notes / you can say notes underscore form.html, and notes form.html is the same template that we use right here, remember? Yeah, so the same template you're going to be using right here down. So we're going to say def, and we're going to let me just give it a bit of space here. So def, and we're going to say test underscore function. It's going to take in self, the self because it's a method, right? So self, and you're going to say post is going to be equals to self.get underscore object, right? And you're going to simply pass and get the object, and you're going to simply say return true if post dot outer equals to self dot request dot user, else false. So this is what you call a ternary statement in Python. So I have to make this capital F. Okay, sorry for that. I've been programming in JavaScript lately a bit, so I'm forgetting the capital F and the capital T for Pythonic true or false. Okay, so once that's out of the way, what I want to go ahead and do, you're going to return true if the post.outer is equals to currently logged in user, else we're going to return false. So this is going to make sure that the person is able to edit this post is actually the person who created the given post, right? Good. So yeah, that's basically it what we need, and it's going to be using the same form as the form that we have up here for creating the post. Now, what's the difference between updating and creating the form and creating a note if they're all using the same template? The reason is that one of them will be pre-filled, like the update one will be pre-filled, while the created one will be just an empty form. That's basically the difference. So if I go in here and there's like we haven't simply added it to any of our posts yet. So what I want to do is that behind below every post, if I go to post notes, or if I go to notes and I go to note list, right? So behind every of this note post list, what I want to do is list the content below, list the functionality for the user to be able to to be able to update this. So what I want to do, I'm going to go into my notes folder, instead of under templates, go into notes, and then under notes folder, go under notes _ list.html. So in there, what I want to do is add a bunch of statements to make sure a couple of things work right. So below this paragraph tag, I'm going to add a div, and I'm going to have just say pass in a div here, and I'm going to simply say pass in a code block here. And in this code block, I'm going to say if request.user is equals to the notes.outer, means if the person who is making the currently logged in user, if it's the one who made the post, right, you want to be able to do a couple of things. So I'm going to go ahead and simply end this else statement. So I'm going to say, sorry, end the if statement, end if. Okay, so once I have that there, I'm going to simply pass in the following. So I'm going to pass in an anchor tag, and it's going to have a class of the following. So I'm going to say btn is going to be a bootstrap button, btn dash outline dash success, and then you're going to say btn dash sm, this is a small button, and then margin, you're going to be a margin all around it of 1. Okay, so there's close of that. So in you're going to have a href, so href, and the href is going to be the following. So we're going to have a href of let me see, I'm going to pass in this code block, and then I'm going to pass in this, and I'm going to say url, and I'm going to say this URL is going to be for notes. So make sure that inside you use a single quote, because outside you're using double quotes. So make sure that inside you use a single quote, or else you get an error. So what do you want the user to be redirected to? You need to say notes /update. So notes /update. Now we haven't really set this route here, but I'll just pass it just in a second. So if you want to update the notes, you also need to pass in the notes ID. So now you say notes.id, and I'm going to explain all this to you just in a second. For now, just bear with me, currently type this out, and I'll just explain this to you just in a second. So I'm going to simply say go to the URL go to the route which has a route name of note update, note underscore update. You're going to pass in the query parameter of the ID as note underscore ID, and note is the currently note that you're working with. So we're going to say the current notes ID that you're trying to update. So if I go back in here into our URLs, what I want to go ahead and do is pass in the following. So sorry, delete this. I'm going to copy this and simply paste it in here. Okay, so in here, what I want to go ahead and do is change these parameters. Okay, we're going to change this parameter so it does reflect something that we want it to. So we're going to simply say pass in a couple of following. So we're going to pass in an int, so it's going to be of type int, and then the int is going to go ahead and be referring to the currently the post ID basically. So we're going to say int, so this is going to go in here, say int, and then int is going to be of type primary key, right? And then that's basically it. You're going to go ahead and do // so the / I already written it there. So int, so it's going to be int, which is going to be of type primary key, and I'm going to do / update, and then / again. So if a person goes to this route, and let's also give it a name. So it's going to be not create, but update. So not update, update, and this is the name of the route that you're using right here. So not update, and then it needs to take in a primary key, and the primary key is what I specify here. The primary key is going to be of type integer, and it's going to be integer, and it's going to be of type primary key, right? So that's what we're passing here. So that's the primary key that you have, the primary key of that respective post, of that respective not post that you have passed in. So that's basically it. Now if I go in here and then simply go inside of my go back in here, instead of notes, and then press refresh. Let me check if my server is running. Okay, the server has stopped, so let me just go ahead and simply stop it, clear this, and then refresh the server again. Now it's running. So if I go in here and then hit refresh, now we get back. So now you can see update. If I click update, now you can see it doesn't have the pre-filled content in it, so that's bad. So it's supposed to have the content pre-filled, but it doesn't actually have the content pre-filled. So I wonder what's the cause of that right now. So let's go ahead and try to see what's the cause of that. So let me just go inside here. I think I know what the cause is. So you can see here we haven't updated, so I'm going to say not update view, so it must be the update view. Okay, so sorry for that, so my bad. So once I have it done, I'm just going to go ahead, refresh this, and if I go ahead and click on update, now it should have we have an say user model form mixing class of not update view without a field attribute is prohibited. So we haven't passed in the field attribute right here. That's why we're getting that error. We have to pass in the field attribute. So I haven't passed in later on, but let me just go ahead and copy this and simply pass in the field here. Let me, that's all. And let me go back in here, refresh this, and then click on update. Now we can see it's all filled. So let me just change this to be updated. Okay, and then also here I'm going to say updated, and then simply click on this. So you can now you can see it has now be changed to updated. So the delete functionality works. So great. Now this is a typo, so let me just go ahead and update it to the updated, and simply say this, and now you can see it has been changed to updated. So great, everything works as we expected to, so good. Yeah, that's basically it for the update functionality. So what's left now is to go ahead and actually do the delete functionality, and then that will be done. So I'm just going to go back in here instead of my my notesgrad app, and I'm going to go under views, which is this right here, and in here I'm going to go ahead and actually add the delete functionality. So I'm going to create another class based view. So when I say class, this is going to be called, no, I'm going to say not delete view, just like that. And you're going to first for you to be able to delete something, you have to be logged in, and you're going to inherit from also the delete generic view class. So delete view. Okay, so once I have that, I can just go down here and simply pass in the form. So I'm going to say model, as you have done so far. Model is going to be the note model, and then you're going to say success URL, where to drag the user after it has been deleted. You're going to drag the user to /notes. Okay, notes, and then you're going to go ahead and specify the template name. So template underscore name, and the template name is going to be a string. So we're going to go ahead and say notes /notes underscore confirm underscore delete and .html. So whenever you try to delete a form, right, it will ask you, whenever you try to delete a note that you created, it will ask you, are you sure you want to delete this or not, right? So you're going to redirect your user to a form that asks the user that question. If the user click yes, then you're going to go ahead and delete that form. If the user doesn't click, if the user click no or cancel, you're not going to do delete that form, delete that simple note. Okay, so that's basically it. So that's what the notes confirm delete.html template is going to do. Okay, and then we say dev test underscore function, and you're going to take in self, and then in here what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to say post is going to be self dot get underscore object, just like that. Call that function or that method, and it's going to say return true if, right, post dot outer is equals to self let's say self dot requests dot user, self dot requests dot user, and then say else false, just like that. So that's basically the logic you're going to have. So yeah, that's basically the logic. If true, then if the post dot outer equals to self dot request dot user, right, you're going to go ahead and return true, else we're going to go ahead and return false. That's basically it. Okay, so yeah, that's all I want to implement right there. So that's basically it, what I want to go ahead and implement. Okay, so once I have this done, I want to go ahead and create the note confirm delete template. So I'm just going to go in here and then just simply add a note, and it's going to be note underscore confirm underscore delete dot html. Okay, that's basically it. So instead of this what is going to be the content of this template? So actually let me just go ahead and simply get this from my GitHub page, and then I'll be back. Yeah, so here I am in on my GitHub page, and I'm just going to go ahead and simply click the not confirm delete HTML file. I'm simply going to go ahead and simply copy this and simply go ahead and paste it in there. So I'm just going to copy this and simply paste it in here, and then let's say delete. This is going to be delete not and not post, and also delete yeah, so do you want to delete the not, this not, call it not for, and then that's basically it. And then you can have a cancel and a confirmation button. So depending on, if you click cancel, you're going to simply pass into not view, you're going to return you back to not view. If you click on delete, it's going to go ahead and delete that not content. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, that's basically what we need to have there. So yeah, that's all we need. And yeah, so let's go ahead actually now display a button whereby there is I can delete something or not. So we're going to have another button similar to this one right here, but now it's going to handle whether a note is deleted or not. Okay, so it's going to be now the delete part. Okay, so just go under your notes, your templates, and then go under notes, and then under notes we're simply going to go ahead note underscore list.html, which is this template opened up right here, and we're going to go ahead and add that functionality here. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this one right here, copy it, and simply go ahead and paste it here, and then this is going to be delete, and then you're going to go ahead and we're going to pass in the note ID, so the ID of that specific note, and I'm going to pass in is going to be delete right here, and this is going to be of danger. So change this bootstrap class to be danger, so danger. Yeah, that's it. And then yeah, that's all we need. So I'm going to go ahead and actually create this point right here in here. So I'm going to go in here, simply go ahead and simply copy this, and then simply paste it again. So I'm going to go down here, simply go ahead and paste it here, and you're going to simply go ahead and change this to be delete, and which is the name that we delete is what we use right here, right? So this is going to be delete right here, and you're also going to take in so you're going to say delete right here. So you're going to take in the post, for you to delete a given post or a given note, you need to know the ID of that note. So this is going to be an integer of type primary key, and it's going to be delete, and it's going to point to now not delete view, and then .asView. Okay, don't forget that part. So yeah, that's all we need. So once I have this done, now I can go back to my app. I just go in here and then simply refresh this. Now you can see we have the delete. So if I click on delete this, now we have this one, not view not found. Not view is not a valid function or URL parameter. Not view is not a valid function or URL parameter. So let me just, I think this is coming from let me just say it's coming from here, because we have the not view right here, which is wrong, right? So what I want to pass instead is going to be not view and not nots view. Okay, so change that to be not view and not nots view. Okay, that's all I want to do in here. So once I have this done, you can just pause the video and type this out in case you haven't yet typed it out. So yeah, that's basically it. And once I have this done, I can simply go ahead, go back in here, refresh this page, and then click on delete. Now you can see, are you sure you want to delete this note? And you can click cancel, which returns you back here. If you click delete, yes, delete, you can see now you go back here, but now the content is deleted. You can see the content now is deleted from here. Yeah, that's basically it, how to delete. And now you can go ahead and create notes. You can delete notes. Let's go here and say tag note content. So this is actually title. Let's go here and say tag not content, just like this, and then simply go ahead and simply create this. So you can see it has been created right there. And you can also delete this, yes, delete, and it has been deleted. And you can also go ahead and log out and also log in again, and all that functionality. Yeah, so that's basically the app that you have created. So now you can only see notes that you have created. You can see notes that you haven't created. So now I'm just going to log in as the admin. So I'm going to log in as the admin and then pass in the admin details in here and just try to log in. So once I'm logged in, I can go ahead and create notes and then say admin note. Okay, and then it's going to be first admin note content. Okay, let me just say first admin note. Okay, and then simply go ahead and simply add it. Now you can see it appears here. So now if I go ahead and simply log out, right, and I log in back again, I'm going to log in as Prince and then pass in my details here. And now as I log in, you can see I can only see nodes that I haven't created. I can see nodes that I haven't created, right? I can only see nodes that I have created. Okay, so that's basically it, how the application basically works. Okay, so once I have this, I can go ahead and delete stuff, update stuff, and do all that functionality. But one thing I noticed is that whenever we start our application, let's say that I just simply go to localhost at port 8000 and did this. Now you can see 44 because there's no endpoint that points here. So now what you can simply go ahead and do is I can go back to my my main app, and then I can go to URLs and simply delete this right here, delete this just like this, and leave it to be blank. And once it's blank, I think that should work. So now let me go back here and simply refresh this. Now we can go back to logout, and I can say login again. And now whenever I go back to our app and just delete all of this and just go back to our app, you can see it bring back to registration or login. So now you can just simply add, by default you can go to registration. So if I go to our auth app and I go to urls.py, by default it should redirect you, it should take you to index, right? And index right now points you to nowhere. So what I want to go ahead and do is change this index to be register. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this right here and just go ahead and delete this. So now it should point us to register instead. So if I go ahead and simply refresh this page, now it should point that registration page, and you can go and click on login. And if you click on login, it actually doesn't work because it's expecting to say out/login. But now if you go, you can see that doesn't work. So if what I need to go ahead and do, let me just see why we're getting that error. We're getting that error because it's supposed to pay login and out, which does not actually exist right now, right? So let me just go and see how we can fix this. Let me see. So we're saying out/login. If I go, whenever I try to go to let me just go back in here, and if I try to go to login, it's taking me to out/login. So if I go in here into out, it's going to be taking me to out/login instead of just login. Okay, so that does not really exist, right? So the thing we can do about this is let's leave this as it is, where you can get the registration page, or what we can do is also go ahead and put the registration page in the default. Let me see a better way that we can think about this. So this is going to refer to, or let's just leave it to be the out, and then out like that. So what we can do is we can add in let me just go back in here. We can add in another path. So let me just undo this, leave it to be registration right here. So we have to go to out for some reason. So what if I can simply go in here, copy this right here, and then go in here and simply go ahead and paste it here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and say from, this is going to be authentication.views, import authentication.views as view. So I'm going to say simply say this and say import authentication.views, and I'm going to put it as view, just like that. So I'm going to import it as views, and then it should do that. So if you go to just the default page, which is this right here, and it should take you to this views page. So let me try this out again. So let me just refresh this. It takes me to this views page, and if I click on login, it takes me to login. If I click on register, it takes me to registration. So everything works as expected. Great. So we're just going to say authentication.views. I'm import it as views here, and say if you go to this / you're going to direct it to registration page, and it redirects you to here. And if you click on login, it takes you to login. If you click here, it's everything works as expected. Yeah, so that's basically it. So yeah, that's basically it, how we can make this work. So let's actually try to make everything work. Let's try to log in, and let's make sure everything works. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and pass in my password here, pass in my password, and then try to log in. So I'm logging, and I can go ahead and everything works as expected. So log out, and that's basically it. So yeah guys, thanks for watching. That's the end of this tutorial. If you guys enjoyed so far, let me know in the comment section below. If you have any suggestions, future recommendations, let me know so far. So one thing, a couple of things that we need to change is instead of our login template, so you can see this should be login, and also this should be login, and so this will be login rather. So go into inside of our templates, and then go into register login, and now change those to be this is going to be login, and also user should be user login, sorry, user login, just like that. So we have user login here, and also we have login here. That's basically what we need. So now just go ahead and refresh the app, so you can see we have login here and login there. So yeah, everything was as expected, and that's the end of the tutorial so far. If you guys enjoyed it so far, you like the video, let me know in the comment section below, and you want more videos on Django, I'll do my best to get back to you and creating such videos. So that's the end of this series on web introduction to web development in Django. Again, thanks for watching. If you haven't yet subscribed, kindly consider subscribing, and see you in the next one. Keep safe.